16 days. 16 days we had to watch we had to go without watching Manchester United. And we were desperate to watch Manchester United. We're so excited to watch Manchester United. We've had a big long break, a big time to refresh. And all we've got to do to make our weekend, to make our Christmas, is to get the 3 points against relegation Newcastle. Arsenal keep picking up points. Conte's got a ticket at Spurs, and Spurs keep picking up points. But Manchester United make relegation teams certain to get relegated, look good. We can't dominate a game. We can't control a game. Every single game we play, we look crap. We could have won that game and look crap. We beat Norwich, we look crap. It doesn't matter when we win. It doesn't matter when we lose. Every single game we look crap. Where is this new manager bounce? These players are too big for their boots. These players need Roy Keane to come in and give them a reality check, because some of these players, I think they think they're a lot better than they are. I really, really do. This is Newcastle. They are bottom of the league, the worst defensive record in the league, and I can't think of one world-class save that Bradford made. I can think of 3 or 4 world-class saves David De Gea made, and I tell you this now, if it was not for David De Gea, we would be in a relegation battle. Forget top 4 if we're going to play like this. Now, I put trust in Rangnick to turn it around, but I don't trust these players because some of the attitude of these players is not good enough. You know what? I generally feel like right now, top 4's in the bin. Get your top 4, chuck it in the bin, because Spurs are ahead of us and Arsenal are ahead of us, and we could be getting sick. The best Manchester United side we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson could be finishing in 6th place. 6th place. And it didn't work under OLE, and they're not working under Rangnick. And I will give Rangnick time. It's been 3 games. I'm not going to be an idiot about it. I put trust in Rangnick. Rangnick said he wasn't happy with the performance. I do like the substitutions Rangnick made. Very attacking. He took Fred off. He took someone off. I see areas what Rangnick wants to do. But I just think, guys, this has to be the players. This generally has to be the players right now at Manchester United. I'm fed up. I've blamed Donny, I've blamed Phelan, I've blamed Carrick, I've blamed McKenna for so long. I've protected these players because I know how talented these players are. And I think one of the reasons I'm so upset, I'm so disappointed, is because I know how good this squad was. 2 years ago, when we lost to Newcastle, we had Daniel James, Andreas Pereira, and out-of-form Jesse Lingard, and Brandon Williams playing with Juan Mata, you know, and I was frustrated then. But the reason I'm so upset about us dropping points to Newcastle is because I know how good this squad is. I know how good our team is. We have a good team, and we're not playing like a good team. You know, I look at other teams and they play better. Manchester City miles ahead of us. Liverpool miles ahead of us. Arsenal look miles ahead of us. Tottenham look miles ahead of us. Chelsea is back in the title race. And we look like a disjointed relegation side with world-class players. And I go, maybe it wasn't OLE. Because, you know, it was no different today than it was under OLE. You know, the same players that were underperforming under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer were underperforming today. And I protected these players because I know how talented they are. I know Rashford is a good player, but he's been playing crap lately. I know Bruno Fernandes is a very good player, but he's been playing crap lately. I am fed up of defending these players, because if you're struggling like that against Newcastle, it doesn't matter who's the manager. These players shouldn't be struggling like that against Newcastle. They shouldn't be struggling like that against Norwich. And I'm hoping they're going to bounce back and we're going to go on a run and we're going to start playing well. But where's it going to come from? Where's it going to come from? I've been waiting for this new manager bounce. It's not happening. I'm waiting for us to have this game when we play well and dominate. I don't think we've had a football game where we've dominated and deserved to win since Leeds' first game of the season. Because every single game since then that we've won, we've been a little bit lucky. We have. I think Crystal Palace we deserve to win. Leeds we deserve to win. That was it. And it's like these players, I feel there's an attitude problem. There's just... I'm just gonna be honest. I'm really disappointed. We are behind Spurs, we are behind Arsenal, and we might be going Europa League. Here we go. Manchester United's super squad, the best squad we've had in years, with Cristiano Ronaldo, could be going into the Europa League. I mean, we should be in the Europa League right now. If it wasn't for Ronaldo, we would be in the Europa League. But that is embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing. Let's, you know, if Van der Beek doesn't start the next game, I'm going to lose my shit. Honestly, if Van der Beek does not start the next game, let him go in January. We shouldn't let Van der Beek go in January because, oh my God, we need him. McTominay and Fred, you know, fresh start, they were crap, especially Fred. You know what? Fred has been good his last few games, but today was the Fred that we saw versus Wolves, the Fred we saw versus Southampton. We saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer Fred back at the wheel. McTominay was the better of the two, but wasn't brilliant. God, we need Donny van de Beek. I hope he starts next game. And one thing I will give Ralf Rangnick was he took Fred off. I thought he's taking Fred off for Sancho. That's brave. And he put Bruno in the pivot. And I tell you what, we don't need McFred. This belief that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer brought us up on, that we need McFred, is an absolute load of bull. It's an absolute load of bull. We took Fred off. We played Bruno out of position in a deeper role, and we looked better in the second half. We couldn't have looked worse, but at least in the second half, we could keep the ball and transition from the midfield to attack. Because Fred and McTominay, they couldn't break the lines to save their life. You could play Fred and McTominay against #United, and they still would get dominated in the midfield against some social media stars because they cannot break the lines. At least with Bruno Fernandes coming in, we could break the lines a little bit. I tell you what, every team we play, we make look good. You know, we play Norwich, we struggled to beat Norwich. Arsenal go batter them 5-0. Do Arsenal have a better squad than Manchester United? No. Arsenal do not have a better squad than Manchester United. But why are Arsenal beating Norwich 5-0? And why are Manchester United struggling against Norwich? You know, we've got a good manager in now. We've got an experienced manager in now. Arteta's hardly an experienced manager. Maybe it's something to do with the players. Because when you looked at these players, did you think they're running around, they're giving it their all? No. When you looked at Newcastle, you thought they're running around, they're giving it all. Big up the Newcastle players. Not for 1 minute when I watched those Man United players were not running, not huffing and puffing like those Newcastle players were. Fair play to Newcastle. I will say fair play to Newcastle. Newcastle were brilliant. You know what, Newcastle, you deserve to win the game. But unfortunately, we've got the best goalkeeper in the world, David De Gea, for you. And that's why you didn't win. But Newcastle were incredible. They gave it their all. They gave it their heart. And I go, you're playing for Manchester United. Anyone that's playing for Manchester United should be grateful that they're playing for the biggest club in the world. And it's like some of the players don't want to be here. The players are playing their hearts out for Newcastle. You know, really, these Man United players don't care because they take home a wage. And honestly, Lord Fred is back, says Patricio. Honestly, guys, please do smash a like on the video and do subscribe if you're new. Cavish says 3 players could have played Donny, but they still play McFred because these 3 managers have only been informed of Ole because some of the coaches stayed. The problem is we've just got the coaches out from Ole. This is the first game that we've played in 3 years where we haven't had the impact of Carrick, Ole, or McKenna. And this was the first game we've played in a while when McTominay and Fred had started, and both of them came off before the 80th minute. Fred came off at half-time. McTominay came off around the 77th minute, okay? That tells me Ralf Rangnick might start to see that McFred isn't away, because Ralf Rangnick's first couple of weeks, all his input was from Ole, all his input was from Phelan, all his input was from McKenna. You wonder why Fred and McTominay were starting 3 games in a row. You notice how Fred comes off like that. Fred put in a load of these performances under Ole and would play 90 minutes. Fred versus Wolves put in that performance under Ole, kept giving the ball away. Fred versus Southampton put in that performance versus Ole, kept giving the ball away. Rangnick subbed Fred off at half-time, and that for me is a positive. I think Fred's been brilliant his last couple of games, but Rangnick said to Fred, "You've had a crap half, you're off." How many, McTominay and Fred have been allowed to have so many crap 90 minutes under Ole, Carrick, McKenna, whoever's doing that stuff. And this was the first time that if one of them was crap, they got subbed off for it. Because, and that for me was the positive. And I think it could be the end of the McFred era because, yes, 3 managers have played them, but we finally got rid of the coaches that had this British McFred obsession. This could be the end of the McFred era because, honestly, it needs to be. It 100% needs to be because we look better when we have, we're playing Newcastle. Let's be honest, we're playing Newcastle. Do we need 2 deep midfielders to play Newcastle? Do we need 2 deep midfielders to play Newcastle? No, we do not. We shouldn't be starting McFred against Newcastle. We shouldn't be starting McFred against Norwich because realistically, Newcastle and Norwich are teams that we should be attacking, playing on the front foot consistently. But what couldn't we do against Newcastle? Break them down. What couldn't we do against Norwich? Break them down. Newcastle and Norwich have the 2 worst defensive records in the league, have the 2 worst defenses in the league, and we scored 2 goals. We scored 2 goals against 2 teams destined for relegation with the 2 worst defenses in the league. And you say to me that's nothing to do with McFred. And I hate sitting here talking about McFred because I blame them with Ole and all of that. I did. But they're so restrictive that maybe you can play McFred against the top 6 side if you want to be a bit more defensive and counter. But if we're playing, if you look at our next 8 fixtures, they're easy winnable games. Our next 8 fixtures should be playing on the front foot, attacking football. And that's got to be the end of McFred for me. It really has got to be the end of me. NR says, I think negative, not positive. I'm not going to think too negative. It's his third game. We didn't lose. We're still unbeaten under Ralf Rangnick. It is points dropped. I think the reason it feels so negative is because we've gone 16 days desperate waiting to see Manchester United play. We play crap. We don't just drop points, but we play crap. We play boring. It's the same stuff we played under OLE. It's so disappointing. We're desperately wanting this change. And it doesn't help when you see Spurs and Arsenal playing the best football they've played in years, and us, with the best squad we've had in years, playing the worst football we've played in years. If it wasn't for David De Gea, we would have been in the Europa League a long time ago. If it wasn't for David De Gea, we'd be in the relegation zone right now. So, guys, if you agree with me that David De Gea was a clear man of the match, smash a like on the video if you agree that David De Gea was a clear man of the match. And obviously, let me know your thoughts in the chat. Little Big Man says it's embarrassing drawing against relegation team. David De Gea kept us in it and all of that. And someone says, why don't you manage United and why don't you coach them? Because realistically, I'm not going to do a better job because I've got no experience. Silly question. And honestly, sorry, but Bruno has got to want more. I mean, look, I love Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is one of my favourite Manchester United players. I rate Bruno. I think he's an absolutely brilliant player, but he has been atrocious. I am one of Bruno's biggest backers. I think he's so disrespected. I think that Bruno gets way too much abuse. When his stats aren't good, they bring up his stats. But when his stats are good, you say it's all about stats. But let's be honest here. Bruno Fernandes lost the ball so many times. So many times. Actually, do you know how many times Bruno's lost the ball in his last 2 matches, guys? Bruno's lost the ball 52 times in his last 2 matches against Norwich and Newcastle. We're playing Norwich and Newcastle, and Bruno Fernandes in those 2 games has lost possession 52 times. Bruno's a brilliant player, and when Bruno's passes come off, it's brilliant. When Bruno's playing well, it's brilliant. But my God, when Bruno Fernandes is not playing well, he's playing League 2 level stuff. I love Bruno, but when he's bad, he is bad. And he has been bad today. And I understand not dropping Bruno because he's such an impact player. But right now, you almost have to drop Bruno. Because Sancho comes on, looks good. Sancho's got to be in one of those wide midfield spots. The second spot, why don't you give Donny a go? Realistically, why? Why don't you give someone new a go? Because Bruno ain't been good. I would like to see Donny deeper, and I do believe Donny will start versus Brentford because I think Ralf Rangnick said, Ralf Rangnick's post-match interview was, I was not happy with that performance. I was not happy with that game. So there's going to be changes in 4 days versus Burnley. Sorry, 3 days versus Burnley. And, there's got to be rotation anyway. I think we'll see Donny go. Bruno's got a suspension. That's Bruno's 5th yellow card. So Bruno will be unable to play against Burnley. Bruno won't be in our next match. So I think Donny will come in. One thing I will give Bruno is he's playing as a left winger in a 4-2-2. Bruno is playing out of position because he doesn't suit the system. And I will let Bruno off with that. I think Rashford looked better when he went in that left wing role. Okay, let me talk about Rashford. Okay, because people go Rashford. Rashford is a good player. He absolutely carried us in that 19-20 season. He's had injuries. He's not been in good form. But Rashford is a good player. Right now, Rashford is not playing like a good player and he deserves to be dropped. Okay? But there's a massive overreaction and a lot of Rashford hate online. Let's not forget Rashford is a good player. Let's not forget what he was doing 2 years ago. Let's not forget what he did a little bit last season. He's just not been good lately. So let's not forget that, guys. Rashford, last 30 minutes, when he played on the left wing, he looked all right. When Bruno dropped Reaper and Rashford played on the left wing, he looked all right. First half, Rashford should have been subbed off, not Greenwood. I think we can agree on that. I feel sorry for Greenwood, got absolutely no service. Still think Rashford should have been subbed off. I'm glad Sancho got 45 minutes, and I think Sancho should start the next game. But Bruno and Rashford have been poor. Maguire's been poor. They need to be dropped. Maguire had to play because Lindelof's got COVID, but he's injured again. Crap. I will let Varane off because he's rusty and hasn't played in 2 months. Maguire crap, Rashford crap, Bruno crap, Fred crap. McTominay, nah. I don't think McTominay was that bad, to be fair. For his standards, it was all right. It was an average game for McTominay. For Man United standards, it was a bad performance. But I'm fed up of these players. They need to step up because this is another manager, and you get to a point where you've gone through so many managers that we've got to stop blaming the managers and maybe start blaming the players. Rangnick needs to realise this formation doesn't work. It didn't work against Norwich. It didn't work against Newcastle. Today he plays them in their natural formation. Maybe he needs to. Maybe we'll let the players off. Maybe it's the formation or that. Maybe it's because the players have had COVID. Maybe because the players ill. Maybe it's going to take the time for the players to adapt. Yes. Maybe the formation isn't right. Okay. Maybe the players don't suit the formation. Cool. But that's still not an excuse for how bad this performance was, because Even when you're playing Newcastle at the bottom of the league, you have a much better team than Newcastle. Even if you try a new formation out, you still expect your team to win because at the end of the day, they've got better players. And maybe the formation doesn't help. But at the end of the day, I still think it's 100% on the players. Brontos says, no one could tell me that there's not a player in our academy capable of holding the midfield better than McFred. No one could tell me that. Honestly, I think Donny could hold the midfield better than McFred, and that's why I've been so pro Donny van der Beek. Honestly, Dylan Levitt, Ethan Galbraith, James Garner, and I want to bring them to Manchester United right now and stick them in that side, because I tell you what, they'll be doing a better job than a lot of our players. We've got a lot of first-team players that are not doing a good enough job. So I tell you what, I agree with that. Rangnick also said in his post-match reaction that we shouldn't look for excuses. We need to do better and get more physical. Rangnick was not happy with the performance, guys. He said that we need to meet the demands in terms of speed, tempo, rhythm, and transitions. That's the only thing that makes me feel better is Rangnick knows what's wrong. Ralf Rangnick said he didn't like the performance at all. We didn't control the game apart from a few moments. Rangnick said we need to meet the demands in terms of speed, tempo, rhythm, and transitions. We shouldn't look for an excuse. So Ralf Rangnick has identified the performance was bad. We lacked the speed, we lacked the tempo, we lacked the rhythm, we lacked the decisions. And Ralf Rangnick has identified what was wrong with that performance, which is brilliant, because when we played that way under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he would just say, wasn't our best performance, blah, blah, blah. Ralf Rangnick has picked out the fact that, it was the rhythm, it was the tempo, it was the passing, it was the speed that it all lacked. So the one difference is, although we played just like we played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, at least Ralf Rangnick, unlike Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has identified is the speed, the tempo, the rhythm, and transitions were not good enough. And hopefully, this is the third game under Ralf Rangnick. He's learning about the squad. Hopefully, this is the start of a change for Ralf Rangnick. Hopefully, this is the start of getting Man United to play well, because maybe Ralf Rangnick's learning the squad. I don't think Ralf Rangnick's going to start McFred next game. If I'm being honest with you guys, the fact that he took Fred and McTominay off says to me that Ralf Rangnick has no interest in playing McFred next game because they weren't good enough. The only problem is he might have to because of lack of depth, because Bruno's now got suspension, so he's got to play Donny higher up. But honestly, I don't think Ralf Rangnick was particularly impressed by that performance, and that's a good thing. Once the transfer window opens, it should be the end of McFred. Guys, I tell you what, Kamara's available for what, 12, 15 million pounds? CDM, 12, 15 million pounds. We need to go for him. We need to go for him because we need a CDM. It doesn't take a genius to point out, but Manchester United are in desperate need of the CDM, and I say we need to go for Kamara. We absolutely need to go for Kamara. 100%. Positives. Okay, positives from the game. Let's talk about some positives. It was better in the second half. It was 100% better in the second half. I think we can all agree that. I think, we did start to control possession in the second half. We were better on the ball. We started to transition. We started to create chances. In fact, Cavani actually had 2 good chances that he didn't score from. I think Manchester United improved in the second half. I think we got a lot better in the second half. And I did like the subs. I like how he took that risk and he said, Fred, you're coming off for Sancho. He didn't bring Fred off for Matic. If it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if it was Carrick, if it was McKenna, Fred would be coming off for Matic. Okay? Rangnick was like, nah, screw that. I'm taking Fred off for Sancho. And Rangnick had this whole attacking approach of taking Fred off for Sancho. And that's what I liked about the performance. The fact that Ralf Rangnick took Fred off for Sancho. That's my positive. Okay? Second half was better. Transition the ball better. But it's not good enough. It's still not good enough. Because this is Newcastle United, guys. This is Newcastle United. We are Manchester United. We should be winning that game 3-4-0. You look at our squad, you look at their squad. We should be winning that game 3-4-0. We got a draw, but when you look at the match, did we deserve to win? No. Were we good? No. Did Newcastle deserve to win? Yes. Is our goalkeeper man of the match? Yes. When you're playing Newcastle and your goalkeeper is man of the match, is that just not a little bit embarrassing? Because I find that a little bit embarrassing that we're playing Newcastle and our bloody goalkeeper is our man of the match. For me, that's a disgrace. That is an absolute disgrace. And I'm absolutely done with this football club. There needs to be an improvement. There absolutely needs to be improvement. I swear, if we go and drop points to Burnley and play like that against Burnley, and we go play like that against Wolves, we are not getting the Champions League football. We are at risk of not getting Champions League football, but it's still early days. Rangnick can turn it around. We can still redeem ourselves. Europa League, here we go. Shit, here we go again. Generally, Spurs look levels ahead of us. Arsenal look levels ahead of us. They both don't have European football now, so they've got more games to rest and look better. United, absolutely crap. Not going to get in the Champions League. And you know what, guys? If we don't get in the Champions League, that's Ronaldo gone. We're already losing Martial. Cavani's going at the end of the season. Ronaldo will go if we don't get Champions League football, which means our only striker is Mason Greenwood. You think we're going to land Erling Haaland if we don't get Champions League football? Absolutely forget it. So not only will we be losing Ronaldo, Cavani, and Martial in 2022, we'll also be losing Paul Pogba, we'll also be losing Matic. So not only will we need a Paul Pogba replacement, not only will we need a CDM that we needed for 3 years, but we're going to need at least 2 bloody strikers because we cannot rely on Mason Greenwood as our only striker, as much as I like Mason Greenwood. If we don't get top 4, we lose Ronaldo. We don't get top 4, we don't get Haaland. We don't get top 4, we might address the CDM problem. We're going to go into a season without a striker. Rashford cannot play striker. Everybody in their right mind knows that Rashford is not a striker. And on current form, Rashford should not even be playing. Let's be honest with you guys. Positive though, fullbacks were good. That's a positive. Was that a hoop, guys? Smash your like if you agree with me that you're impressed with the fullbacks, because I do think that DALOT and Tellers have been very, very good lately. I think that they did a good job. They put in some good crosses and they were some of the positives. Niall Kane says that Newcastle deserved to win. And SS16 says 2 weeks rest, and now that this kind of performance where they forget how to pass and keep the ball. I just hate this formation. I'm not even going to blame the formation though. Like, I don't like the formation, but it's worked for other clubs. You know, at the end of the day, regardless of the formation, Manchester United should be easing past Newcastle. We should be easing past Newcastle. We've had over 2 weeks rest. And this is the performance they put in. I'm absolutely embarrassed. You've had 2 weeks rest, Manchester United. Your fans are desperate to watch you play. Us fans have been so desperate, so excited to watch Manchester United play. They've had 2 weeks off. We're playing Newcastle. Our rivals Arsenal. Our rivals Tottenham for top 4 are picking up points, looking unstoppable. It's it's now more than ever we need to be picking up these points, because look at Arsenal, look at Tottenham, look how good they are, and all of a sudden Manchester United can't even beat Newcastle. We only beat Norwich because of a lucky penalty. We can't beat Newcastle. We've got Burnley next, and I'm thinking, when will it end? As DT said, when will it end, Robbie? Because we sacked Ollie. We thought, okay, this is the start of something new. And I will say one thing positive: we have been unbeaten. We are unbeaten since Ollie's been sacked. So although we're dropping points, we haven't lost. So that's my one positive. But when's it going to end? When are we going to start controlling games? When am I going to be able to do a watch long and actually relax? Like, let's be honest. Because every single watch long, I'm sat here like this. I've had enough. Every single watch long, that's what I'm sat like. When can we just sit and watch Manchester United control a game? When can I lie back and go 2-0, half-time, boosh, win the game 3-4-0, relax, and actually talk to you guys and be like, guys, that was brilliant? Because when was the last time I said, guys, that was brilliant? When was the last time we were sitting here like, wow? Because right now we're watching Arsenal, we're watching Tottenham fans talking about how good they're playing and how excited they are. I'm so excited to watch Man United play, but now I'm not. I've spent 2.5 weeks being so excited for our next game, going, you know what, I trust Ralf Rangnick, it's going to change. I've spent 2.5 weeks getting really excited, really pumped up for our next game, and I've just been disappointed again. You know what, I'm not excited for our next game. I'm not excited one bit for our next game, because I'm worried we're going to go to Burnley and do the exact same thing. And we know Burnley's our bogey team. We know Burnley causes us problems. But that's how I feel. We're going to go to Burnley and do this. I've absolutely had it to here with this team. It's not good enough. Real Madrid got rid of Varane, and Madrid lost their round 16 against City because of him. Look, Varane's a good defender. Let anyone going in on Varane, anyone blaming Varane, anyone thinking it's Varane's fault, pipe the frick down. Look how bad we were without Varane. If Varane didn't play today, Phil Jones would have played, because Lindelof's out and Bailly's out. So if Varane didn't play, Phil Jones would have played. Maybe Varane isn't 100% match up. That's what we saw today. I will not go in on Varane. I will not mark Varane down, because at the end of the day, he wasn't match sharp, but in the second half, he was a lot better. Harry Maguire is match sharp, and Harry Maguire was just as bad as Varane today. Harry Maguire got mugged off more. Varane was not good. He was not match sharp. I will not go in on Varane. But honestly, I'm not going to you can say Varane probably caused the goal, but Maguire's the worst defender. He couldn't defend the ball. Varane caused the goal, but Maguire should have defended that better. Ken says, free Van de Beek. Smash a like on the video if you're really disappointed Van de Beek didn't get on the pitch, because I 100% agree that Donny Van de Beek should have got on that pitch. I mean, look, when you look at how bad we're playing, this is the one frustrating thing, and I'm going, is Van de Beek going to get the treatment he got under Ollie? We're watching that game, and what are we screaming out for? A player that can keep the ball. We're sitting there. And I'm going, we're going at half time, and I'm like, we need Van de Beek on. My half time talk was, we cannot keep the ball. We cannot transition the ball from midfield to attack. One of McFred needs to come off. For me, I would have put Van de Beek on, because I think Bruno had been poor. Maybe it'd have been a different game, but I think Bruno did, have some good moments. Because Van de Beek, would literally add everything we needed that game. We had 3 issues that game. 3 issues we had that game. We couldn't control the midfield. In fact, guys, listen to this. Joe Linton and Sean Longstaff dominated McFred in midfield. Manchester United are getting outplayed by Joe Linton and Sean Longstaff in the midfield. Did you hear that right? Sean Longstaff and Joe Linton are not just controlling our midfield, they won the midfield battle comfortably without breaking a sweat. We make Joe Linton look good. Manchester United are making Joe Linton look good. That's a crime in itself. That is a crime in itself. Idiots team. I've had it to hear. Fred and McTominay crap, and he took Fred off at half time. And I just thought at half time was screaming for Donny, a player that can move the ball quickly and progressively and break the lines and get the ball to the attack. Because you can say Greenwood was crap, you can say Ronaldo was crap, you can say all you want. But what service did Greenwood and Ronaldo get? Was there a chance we thought Ronaldo had on a plate, he should have finished that? No. Because the midfield couldn't transition to the attack. And okay, yes, the attack was poor versus Norwich, yes, the attack was poor versus Newcastle, but have the attack even had an opportunity to do anything? Let's be honest with you guys. Because we've been criticising the attack, saying that they look lacklustre, they don't look together, they don't look put together, they don't look organised, they don't work together these last 4 games. But actually, how much time has the attack had on the ball? Yes, they've been wasteful on the ball, but how much of the ball have they had? Because how many times has Fred and McTominay been able to pass it forward and break the lines quickly? Not at all. Not at all. Second half versus Newcastle, we get better. We have more attacks. Cavani has a few chances. We look better. Why is that? Because Bruno goes into Fred's role and Bruno knows how to pass the ball forward. And I just thought, imagine if Donny van de Beek had started instead of McTominay or Fred today. Imagine if Donny had started. Because 1, Donny's a more controlled midfield. 2, Donny doesn't give the ball away like Fred does. And 3, Donny can break the lines. And our three problems were Newcastle running all over us. We couldn't keep the ball and we couldn't break the lines. Donny didn't do all of those 3 things. And I just think we really missed out not playing Donny van de Beek. We really missed out. David De Gea was man of the match. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you agree with me that David De Gea was man of the match. David De Gea was my man of the match. And if he was your man of the match, smash a like on the video. And please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and more, make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football as well and smash a like on the video. But yeah, was not good enough. Donny didn't even come on. Like, that shocked me. That absolutely shocked me. The only reason I can think why Donny didn't come on is, I guess, Rashford for Donny's a more defensive sub. Bruno for Donny's a more defensive sub. Maybe he didn't want it. Maybe he viewed Donny as a defensive sub. But no, Donny should have come on, in my opinion. But I hope Donny starts versus Burnley. If Donny doesn't start versus Burnley, I'll be really upset with Ralph. But as I said earlier, I trust Ralph to make the right decision because he took Fred off at half time. Fred's put in those performances under OLE and played 90 minutes. You know, Fred, how many times has Fred put in those performances under OLE and played 90 minutes? Ralph took Fred off, and I put faith in Ralph because he took Fred off after that performance. That I do somewhat trust Ralph. Varane caused the goal. Yep. Negative. The way we play is crap. Yes, there's no visible improvement. There's no change in intelligence. There's no change in attitude. There's no change in chemistry. What the hell? Until when? You raised some good points. Was the performance crap? Yes. Was there any improvement? No. Did we look intelligent? No, we didn't. And it felt the same as watching us play under OLE. It really felt the same as watching us play under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I won't lie. You know, I look at every other team in the Premier League and they're so much more intelligent. They're so much more technical than us. We generally play the worst football in the Premier League. We have one of the best teams. I think on paper, we have the second best team in the league if you look at individuals. But we play some of the worst football in the Premier League. Where's our IQ? You look at how Manchester City play. You're even looking at how Arsenal are playing, Spurs are playing. You're looking at how all our rivals are playing, and they're playing so much better football than us. Why are we playing the worst football in the league? Because we can't just blame McFred. We can't just blame McFred. We can't just blame the manager. We can't just blame the coaches. There is an issue in this team, and some people say OLE caused this issue. You know, we were playing well, but they've had 3 years of OLE and coaches. They've caused this issue. But why do we look so set 8? You know, to describe our playing. Why can't we move the ball and look technical and look good? Why does every other team look more technically intelligent than us? Why has these Manchester United players got a severe lack of intelligence? Because there's a severe lack of intelligence in a lot of these Manchester United players. Technically, we're not good on the ball. We don't keep the ball well. We don't play nice on the eye football. But we've got a manager that wants to play nice on the eye football, and we've got good players. So why aren't we doing it? Like, it just frustrates me. I just think we're going to end up in the Europa League. And I hate to say it, you know, we're just going to enter the Europa League. Varane is out. It's not our fault. I'm not going to blame Varane. At the end of the day, De Gea is the only reason we're not getting relegated. Like, let's be honest. Is Ollie to blame? Is Ollie to blame? Was it Ollie's fault that was Ollie actually a good manager and the players crap, or is Ollie the reason we're in this mess? Is it 3 years of Ollie and that's why we're so bad, or was the players the problem? Who's the problem? Ollie? Who's the problem? The players? We just look so technically behind everyone else. It's just so frustrating how you watch Manchester City, you watch Liverpool, the way they dominate games. I mean, even Arsenal and Spurs, I watched their last 2 or 3 games. I can't remember the last time we looked like that. Probably NHS Martial, like a lockdown. We haven't looked like that for nearly 2 years. 18 months. 18 months since we last looked like a good side and we're playing good football. And I thought, new manager, Norwich, Newcastle, the 2 worst teams in the league with the 2 worst defensive records, and we can't even look good. We can't even look good against them. 2 worst teams in the league, 2 worst defensive records. We don't even look good against them. Can't even score goals. We can't even score goals. No team has conceded more goals than Newcastle or Norwich, yet we're struggling to score goals. We've got 1 open play goal against Newcastle and Norwich. 1 open play goal against them. Today, Rangnick said today we won a point, not lost 2, which I think is a silly comment. But what Rangnick did say is in the second half, we changed from a 4-2-2-2 into a 4-1-3-2. The intention was to play on the wing. It was the way we prepared our equaliser. We had another 2 opportunities playing the ball behind their back 4. Edison could have scored another one. This is what Ralf Rangnick pointed out in his match interview. And if you look at the match, I think we're going to stop the 4-2-2. I think what Rangnick is saying is the 4-2-2's ended, because in the second half we played the 4-1-3-2. We did look better in the second half, and one of the reasons we did look better is because we started getting crosses and we found the width. And once we found the width, we created more opportunities. DALOT, Tellers, and Sancho were 3 of our best players today because they created an opportunity and they created Cavani's service. And I have to say this now, and I think you guys will agree with me on this. And if you don't agree with me, tell me why. But when you have Ronaldo and when you have Cavani playing up top, you need to get wide, because Cavani and Ronaldo are 2 of the best strikers in the world. They're 2 of the best players in the world with their head, and Cavani's got the best movement in the world. And if you've got 2 strikers with brilliant movement, brilliant heading, brilliant experience, and absolutely clinical finishers, all they need is service. All they need is service. All they need is crosses. And you've got DALOT who can put in a good cross that created the goal. You've got Tellers that put in a good cross, and you've got Sancho that's got 20 plus assists last 3 seasons in a row. I think what Ralf Rangnick's realised is he might have to change from the 4-2-2 to the 4-1-3-2, because Rangnick said in the second half we went to the 4-1-3-2, we played better, we created more opportunities, we used the width, and actually Cavani almost scored another one. And that was true. So I think going into our next game, maybe we want to go with the 4-1-3-2. Maybe it's got to be Cavani and Ronaldo up top, Bruno as the 10, Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left if you want to keep Rashford in, and maybe Donny and McTominay in the pivot, or Donny and Fred in the pivot. Maybe something like that. Because, yeah, I think we look better in the second half, and I think maybe the 4-2-2 doesn't work for us because we don't use the width. Maybe that's right. But, it was a poor game. We did get better, but I do like how Ralf Rangnick said he didn't like the performance. I do like how Ralf Rangnick said we lacked the tempo. We didn't play fast enough. We didn't do the transitions right. I like how Ralf Rangnick has picked out everything that we knew was wrong with that performance. And that's what I like. And honestly, if I was gonna give you one way to sum up the game, just glad it's over. Generally, glad it's over. Let's move on from it. I think right now I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed. I think it doesn't help when you had these games in hand, but now even if you win these games in hand, you're still not going to be in the top 4. I think when you've got a team, if you had said to me and just come January 2021, Man United were well out of the title race and actually looking like they weren't going to get top 4, I said piss off. The fact that in the summer this team was nabbed to be in a title race, this team should have been in a title race, and by January we're in a top 4 race, and actually a top 4 race that right now doesn't look like we're going to get in the top 4. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace and I'm worried, and I'm just hoping that this is the start of something new. I'm not going to say High School Musical. I'm hoping this game and riles Rangnick up, gives Rangnick the energy to drop players because we drop points, have a go at players, show players what they're doing wrong. He's identified it in the press conference, and maybe we're going to go out to Burnley and play well. And I really, really hope that not just we beat Burnley, but we play well, because we could play like this and beat Burnley and we could call it a response. But I want us to go to Burnley and start playing, start running around. Cavish says, relax, Alice, it's still early days. 3 games, 2 wins, 1 draws. I said that. I said I'm not going to completely lose my shit. I'm not going to go off on one. I'm not happy with the performance, but I do agree. I'm not going to lose my shit. I'm not going to go off on one because at the end of the day, we're unbeaten under Ralf Rangnick. It's frustrating that we dropped points, but we are unbeaten under Ralf Rangnick. My camera is really, really laggy, so I do apologise for that, guys. We are unbeaten under Ralf Rangnick, which is probably the most important thing. As well, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you are new. Mahem said that Gary Neville is right. They're a bunch of whinbags. I agree with Gary Neville. He is correct. And Diego says only 36 likes needed for 100 likes, guys. So keep smashing the like button. Just going down to the end of the live chat. So any live chats to me, do get them in down below. No, the fullbacks defending was not good. Okay, I was impressed with the fullbacks today, but defensively I don't think they were brilliant. Saint-Maximin caused us a lot of problems. Saint-Maximin could have had a hat-trick today. He caused us a lot of problems. Saint-Maximin made us look like mugs. Let's be honest. Saint-Maximin, we struggled against Saint-Maximin. Yeah, Varane is rusty. I agree. Varane was very, very rusty today. And Newcastle deserved to win. Clear-cut chances they created. Newcastle 100% deserved to win. I agree with that as well. But you know what? Lucky United, and let's just hope we can win our games because we need Newcastle, we need Spurs to drop points, we need Arsenal to drop points. And also, you've got to remember that Spurs and Arsenal aren't in Europe, so it's going to be harder for them to drop points as well. I want to show you something on my screen, guys. And this is just a bit of a statistic from the game. So let me just share my screen with you. I will do player ratings in a minute, so do stay tuned for player ratings, but make sure you smash the like on the video. I'm going to share my screen because this thing got laggy. This is not good for Bruno. Let's be honest. Fred and Donny would be good in midfield, I agree. We have no midfield. Bruno is not playing well, and we have absolutely no midfield. We need to sort this problem out. Bruno will be unable to play versus Burnley, which it could be a good thing. You know, for some people, there's some idiot Man United fans celebrating the fact that we're not going to be able to play Bruno versus Burnley. I still think we'll miss him. But he's not been good enough. He's not been good enough whatsoever. And we need to seriously think about, does this system suit Bruno? What do we do with Bruno? He's a good player. We need to get him in form because when Bruno's in form, he's the best player in the world. When Bruno's not in form, he wouldn't even start #United. So, not happy with Bruno. How many crosses arrived into the 16-yard box? Fergie would have murdered this team for this alone. I think we did quite well with crossing. I think we did make some good crosses, and I was impressed by the crosses as well. Rangnick, this is on you. He picked the lineup 4-2-2, 4-2-2. I don't think it's on Rangnick. I think, you know, I'm so bored of blaming players, blaming the managers, blaming the coaches. I've spent so much time blaming the managers, blaming the coaches that I'm bored of it. I'm absolutely bored of it. I think it's time that the players take responsibility. And Ralf Rangnick's a good manager, and I'm not going to blame Ralf Rangnick. Paul says that Bruno's burnt out a bit. Yeah, I think Bruno is a little bit burnt out. I think maybe he'll need that rest. And A340 says the team is full of forwards. If Rangnick continues to play McFred, he's fucked. And you know what I said earlier? I don't think Rangnick will continue to play McFred. I get the impression Rangnick's going to stop playing McFred because the fact he took Fred and McTominay off says it all. You know, Ollie would never take Fred and McTominay off. Fred had so many bad performances under Ollie, get 90 minutes. Rangnick took both Fred and McTominay off that game, and he took Fred off at half time. I think it's the end of McFred. I think a lot of these players are not good enough for Manchester United. A lot of these players are underperforming, and I think Ralf Rangnick knows that, and I think he will take them off. And as I said, guys, I'm not blaming the manager. I'm not Rangnick out. I'm not going in on Rangnick. Yes, this was like playing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yes, this was 2 points dropped. Yes, this is frustrating. Yes, it's an awful performance. Yes, it feels like we're not going to get the top 4. But I think you have to blame the players when it's this bad. You know, it doesn't matter on the manager. These players should be able to beat Newcastle quite easily, because I tell you what, we'll probably see Man City go beat Newcastle 8-0 in a couple of weeks. We'll probably see Liverpool go beat Newcastle 8-0 in a couple of weeks. But only us can make Newcastle look good. And it's like, oh, maybe every team just decides to play well against Manchester United. Or maybe Manchester United just aren't as good as we think. Maybe there's an issue with the players, because you know what? Someone said this to me, and you know what? I agree with them. I said, no. I think these Man United players think they're better than they are. I think a lot of these Man United players think that they're a lot better than they actually are. There's a stubbornness at Manchester United, and we like stubbornness at football, but there's this stubbornness of, oh, it's only Newcastle, I don't need to be full 100%. You know, when you play for Manchester United, you should be putting on that shirt. You should be wearing that badge with absolute pride. If you play for Manchester United, when you put on that shirt, you have to give it your all. Newcastle United, their players were running their hearts out, giving it their all. Every single Newcastle player was running, and did not stop running, absolutely giving it their all. I looked at those Man United players and I thought, which of these Man United players have actually given it their all? Like, seriously, guys, what Man United players did you watch today where you thought they're giving it everything? They're playing their heart out for Manchester United? Because if you want my honest opinion, there wasn't very many Man United players where I sat there and thought they're playing their heart out. They're really trying, because you know what? I don't think they do. You know, at least for OLE, they gave him what, a 6, 7, 8, 12 game manager bounce. Ralf Rangnick, you know what? I won't blame Ralf Rangnick, and this is one of the reasons I won't blame Ralf Rangnick. I went to that Crystal Palace match, and the first 30 to 40 minutes versus Crystal Palace, we were playing attacking, pressing, brilliant football. Ralf Rangnick had spent half a training session with the team, and he got them playing really high tempo, impressive attacking football in half a training session with the team. And we played well versus Crystal Palace, and we could have been 2-3 up at half time. And that is the best game of football we've played in a while against Crystal Palace, and we could have been 2-3 up at half time. All of a sudden, it's gone downhill again. But we know that within that, Ralf Rangnick having half a training session with the squad, he started to get them playing his way, attacking football way. And the squad can play that way. But it feels like the squad are too arrogant, too egotistical to not play that way. It's like they're not putting the effort in. And that, for me, is really, really frustrating, because a lot of these players, I don't think, are trying hard enough. I don't think are putting their all in for Manchester United. And I won't blame Ralf Rangnick, because we saw what he did versus Crystal Palace within half a training session today. We know what he wants to do. We saw what he wants to do. And we know it works because he's got a world-renowned manager status. There's an issue at Manchester United with certain players who just aren't performing. And I will say, the same players that were underperforming under OLE are underperforming under Ralf Rangnick. And I hope Ralf Rangnick, unlike OLE, is not stubborn enough to keep playing underperforming players. And the one difference between Ralf Rangnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, I think Ralf Rangnick is going to drop these underperforming players. Because you look, a lot of players got subbed off today. Fred would never get subbed off under OLE. McTominay would never get subbed off under OLE. McFred underperformed under Ralf Rangnick. They got subbed off. Honestly. Guys, I also got a question for you. Who would you play up top? Cavani with Ronaldo? And Red Devil Weekly said, I wouldn't blame De Gea if he left to win trophies. He has sacrificed part of his career when he could have won loads of trophies to save our bacon week in, week out. You know what? If De Gea wanted to leave Man United, he should be freaking crowned and knighted, because he's the only reason we're not getting relegated this season. Yeah, you're absolutely right. David De Gea has been a great servant to this club, and I never disrespected De Gea when he even had bad games. And, if you agree with me that David De Gea was the reason that we won the game, the reason we aren't getting relegated, smash a like on the video. If David De Gea was your man of the match, smash a like on the video, because David De Gea was my man of the match by an absolute country mile. I don't know where we'd be this season if it wasn't for David De Gea. I really don't know where we'd be this season. It wasn't for David De Gea. Hal says we need Cavani. I think we do need Cavani. I think he will start the next game if he can. I think what Cavani brought, and I wanted to talk about this, I forgot to bring this up. What Cavani brought when he came on the pitch was a really good attitude. Cavani comes on and his work rate, his attitude, I think it shows how far some of the players have got to come. The way Cavani comes on that pitch, he gives it his all, he runs around. Cavani has the perfect work rate, the perfect attitude, the perfect mentality. And you compare Cavani's work rate, attitude and mentality to a lot of those other United players, and we need to hope a lot more of these players start playing like Cavani, because you know what? There's something Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. It was half wrong, half right. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talked about playing for the badge and passion. And it was annoying because you have to pick ability over playing for the badge, having the United DNA and passion. But when you play for Man United, you need to have the ability, but you also need to have the attitude. You need to play for the badge. You need to have that passion. If you're not talented enough, even if you play for the badge and have that passion, you shouldn't play. But if you are talented enough, you need to play for the badge. You need to have that passion. And Cavani has that. But there's a lot of other players involved at Manchester United that don't have that passion, do not play for the badge. And they need to go. We can't rely on Fred and Bruno right now. We can't. De Gea is all Man U. De Gea is, guys, as I said, smash a like on the video if De Gea is your man of the match. Let's go for 250 likes. And if De Gea was your man of the match, smash a like on the video. 4-1-3-2 was the formation we're playing in the second half, guys. So what we played in the second half, and I'll actually get this up, what we did in the second half, I think this is why we improved in the second half. And I think this is what we'll probably do. So I think this is what we'll probably aim to do versus Burnley. But what Ralf Rangnick did was he played a sort of a 4-1-3-2. And this is what we did in the second half. This was the formation we played in the second half. And I think it worked better. Now, playing McTominay as a lone CDM was risky. But luckily, McTominay wasn't too bad. I think Donny or Fred or Matic, I think when Matic came on for McTominay, we looked a little bit more controlled. But he played McTominay here. He played sort of Bruno a little bit deeper than the wingers. Bruno was kind of here, and I think, he played Sancho here and he played Rashford here. And this is what he did in the second half when he subbed off Fred for Sancho, because we're a bit confused. Why is Fred coming off for Sancho? Part of it didn't make sense. But Ralf Rangnick has now explained what he was doing, and this was what he was doing. And he did this to get width. And I think maybe, the 4-2-2 doesn't work. I'm not the biggest fan of the 4-2-2, but I was like, it's Ralf Rangnick's formation. He knows how to play it. It works for him. But, the 4-2-2 wasn't brilliant. Let's be honest, it wasn't brilliant. And this is what we did in the second half. And were we brilliant in the second half? No. But we were much more in control of the game. We had a lot more attacks. Actually, Cavani could have even won the game, but Newcastle had opportunities to win the game. And we looked a lot better. And what I always notice about Man United is we always look better when we play on the front foot. We always look better when we play attacking football. And I think maybe, the 4-2-2 doesn't work at Manchester United. And maybe he's going to go with this 4-1-3-2. Because this is what we did in the second half. And Bruno sort of played a little bit ahead of McTominay and came back for support. And that's Rashford. Rashford looked better. Let's be honest, Rashford in the first half was a 1 out of 10. Rashford in the second half was a 5 out of 10. Rashford looked a lot better because he was playing in his natural position left wing. Sancho looked really, really good when he came on, and we looked better. I think, if I'm being all honest, I don't know the 4-1-3-2, the formation we're playing. I'm not all familiar with the formation that we were playing in the second half, but I think this could be the way forward for Manchester United, because if you look at the 4-2-2, it doesn't play wingers, but it doesn't play a cam. And I think our strength is Bruno and our wingers. Bruno doesn't suit the 4-2-2, let's be honest. Rashford doesn't suit it. Sancho a little bit doesn't really suit it. Greenwood only suits it if he plays as a striker. I think really the way forward for Manchester United would to maybe play this formation under Ralf Rangnick, because it's a bit of a B-Tech 4-3-3. It's almost a more attacking 4-3-3, which is kind of why I like it. I think if you have a real CDM and not McTominay, I would like this formation, because it's essentially a 4-3-3, but more attacking. It's like a 4-4-2, but one CDM and one attacking minded midfielders. It's like a 4-4-2, but with one midfielder being attacking minded and one being defensive minded. It's a little bit like this. And I think this formation could work. And, if I'm going to be honest, if we go into the Burnley game, we go, you know what, Bruno can't play versus Burnley, so Donny plays there, okay? I just feel like Rashford's not going to get dropped. I think Rashford should be dropped, but I just don't think Rashford's going to get dropped, because he took Greenwood off before he took Rashford off. I think we could go into the Burnley game playing something like this. I do. It's a 4-1-3-2, what we did in the second half versus Newcastle, but a bit like this. I think we could generally go into the Burnley game looking a little bit like this. And how would you feel about this, guys? Because maybe he'll do actually rest McTominay and Fred, because he wasn't very impressed with McTominay and Fred, and do something like this. Maybe for all we know, he might go, yeah, screw you, Rashford, and play Elanga. But, I think we'll do something like this going into the Burnley game. I think it could be the end of the 4-2-2. And I've just realised I'm not sharing my screen with you. So I've just been doing something on my screen, and none of you have been watching. I've just been, basically, this is the formation we played. I've just been doing this on my screen. I just realised none of you, it didn't come up on my screen. But this is the formation we were sort of playing. The 4-1-3-2. I'm gonna have to go back and do it again. I'm gonna have to go back and do it again. Oh my god. I had this all up on my screen. I was doing all these demonstrations, guys, and I just realised that none of you could see my screen. But this is essentially what we did in the second half. By the way, got it up on my screen now for you to see. This is essentially what we did in the second half, and this is what I think we're going to do going into Burnley game, but changing a few players. Stefan Wallace says that United were absolutely awful tonight, as bad as any performance under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The players are the problem, not any manager or formation, and I think I agree with that. Obviously, it's the third game in. It was a poor game. All teams have poor games. Liverpool, Manchester City have poor games and all of that. But I think when you've had 2 poor games in a row versus Newcastle, versus Norwich, you get to a point where you're like, I've had enough of these poor games. I think we will rightly so get to a point where we've had enough of these poor games. And I think it's still a fresh start for everyone under Ralf Rangnick. I still agree everyone should get a fresh start under Ralf Rangnick. And I'm not going to say get rid of this player now, get rid. Because everyone deserves a fresh start under Ralf Rangnick. But what I will say is players need to be dropped. McTominay and Fred had 2 poor performances under Ralf Rangnick. one of them needs to be dropped. Bruno needs to be dropped. I think Rashford needs to be dropped. And it's up to see if Ralf Rangnick does that. You know, we might be sitting here in 3 games' time talking about how good Ralf Rangnick's been. You know, this could just be a blip and we could be playing really well against Burnley, really well against Wolves, and really well again. You know, we might be sitting here in a few games' time saying this was a blip and Manchester United all of a sudden look good again. And I hope that is the case. I really hope that is the case, and this is just the end of this bad spell. But if we go into Burnley looking like this and Wolves looking like this, then I'm going to start to be worried, because right now I'm worried about a top 4 spot. Because I look at Spurs, I look at Arsenal, they don't have European football anymore, they've got an advantage, they're playing better, they're more put together. We've got a very easy run of games. We've still got 8 easy games in a row to go. We need to take full advantage of this. And hopefully we will. But getting outplayed by Newcastle, getting outplayed by Norwich, for me, it's an absolute embarrassment. Guys, I am going to get into player ratings in just a minute, so please do make sure you stay tuned for my player ratings. But of course, guys, if you have not already, please smash a like on the video and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more, please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football. Smash a like on the video, share the video and all that. We're 40 subscribers away from 26.1k, so if you are watching and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe as well as smashing a like on the video. If David Teher was your man of the match, as I said, smash a like on the video. So if you've not smashed a like on the video, what are you doing? I'm going to scroll down and look at some live chats as well. Alice, Man United's major problem is the midfield. It's time Bruno play a new role in the central midfield because we have no midfield to dictate games. I agree. And as I said earlier, this is the formation we played in the second half, and I think this is the formation maybe Ralf Rangnick will play against Burnley. I think one thing Ralf Rangnick's realised is, because we've got to remember, Ralf Rangnick came into Manchester United not knowing a whole lot about the squad. And all his inputs come from Phelan, all his inputs come from McKenna, all his inputs come from OLE. All of his inputs come from OLE, Phelan and McKenna. And you notice that we're playing McFred against Norwich, McFred against Newcastle. I think Ralf Rangnick's realised we don't need to be playing McFred against the likes of Newcastle and Norwich, because they restrict us going forward. Because once you took Fred off for Bruno, we created more going forward. I think Ralf Rangnick's realised McTominay and Fred restrict us going forward. We do not need to play 2 CDMs against the likes of Newcastle, likes of Norwich. And did you notice it took him 45 minutes versus Newcastle for us to go and play 1 CDM? 1 CDM loan. OLE never did that. 1 CDM. And I think we'll go into Burnley, I think we'll go into Wolves, and I think we'll be playing 1 CDM, and I think we'll be playing this formation. Because unless you're playing a Liverpool, unless you're playing a City and you need to be playing 2 CDMs, I think we'll be playing 1 CDM. And I think Ralf Rangnick, he took Fred off for Sancho. You know, OLE would have taken Fred off for Matic. OLE would 100% have taken Fred off for Matic. Carrot would have taken Fred off for Matic. He took Fred off for Sancho, and he played 1 CDM. Because Ralf Rangnick had the guts to identify why I shouldn't be playing McFred against the low block side. And OLE's problem was he played McFred against low block sides, and we couldn't break them down. We did struggle to break Newcastle down, but we were better in the second half because we found the width, we put the crosses in, and Cavani could have potentially scored. Now, Scott McTominay is not an out-and-out CDM. It doesn't take a genius to point out the fact that Scott McTominay is an out-and-out CDM, and we did look a little bit weak defensively. But if you get a Rodri in, or a top CDM in, this could work, because this is the formation we played in the second half. And I think this is the formation we'll play versus Burnley, because we'll go Burnley are quite low down in the league, Burnley are a low block. I think Ralf Rangnick has the knowledge to identify McTominay and Fred were poor in the last game and drop one of them, because I think Ralf Rangnick has probably realised, okay, I had to listen to OLE, I had to listen to McKenna, I had to listen to Phelan because I was new. But I think the fact that he took off Fred at half time, the fact that he took off McTominay after 70 minutes, says to me that Ralf Rangnick has maybe realised that you don't need to start McFred every game, because when you're playing Newcastle, when you're playing Norwich, they don't offer anything because they can't break down teams. You know, Bruno went in that Fred role, but a little bit more advanced, and all of a sudden the midfield could connect to the attack. Because you can go in on Ronaldo, you can go on Greenwood, you can criticise them all they want. But did Ronaldo or Greenwood actually get service in that first half? No. Did we actually have a shot on target in that first half? No. Did Manchester United actually create anything in that first half? No, we didn't. We were poor in that first half. And, you know, you can say what you want, but I think there's a big issue at Manchester United around OLE and what OLE's done. And I know I've been saying, look, we can't blame the managers, we can blame the players. And maybe I was wrong to blame OLE. Maybe I was wrong to blame the coaches. Maybe it is the players. But I do think we are playing very similar to how we did under OLE. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we are suffering the effects of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his poor coaches being in a reign for too long. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just is the players, and it doesn't matter if we had Pep and his coaches or Klopp and his coaches, they'd still play bad. But I think we are maybe struggling from the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was here for a while with his coaches, and these players aren't used to playing such high tempo, expansive football. Maybe that's why we're struggling. Maybe we're struggling because, you know, Ralf Rangnick's been told about the McFred obsession, and maybe Ralf Rangnick, you know, it took him 3 games to realise McFred isn't the way because he took them both off. And for me, you know, as you can see on the screen, the formation we played in the second half, Ralf Rangnick said we played a lot better in the second half. We created a lot more chances because I changed to a 4-1-3-2. Ralf Rangnick noticed that United looked better with 1 CDM instead of 2. He noticed that we didn't need McFred. He noticed that we looked better when we found width. You know, Ralf Rangnick's 4-2-2 doesn't really suit Manchester United because we are a side that we've got our strength as wingers. You know, Bruno's a lot better in the middle. Bruno was a lot better in the second half. He's a lot better in the middle. And Rashford, Sancho, Greenwood, they all can all play as wingers. Our strength is wingers. And maybe Ralf Rangnick wants to play as 4-2-2, but he's realised actually he's not going to get the best out of the squad playing the 4-2-2. Because if he goes to this 4-1-3-2, he doesn't have to play this McFred thing that Phelan and Ollie have taught him to do and McKenna have taught him to do. And maybe he's realised he doesn't need to play McFred because he's taken the risk playing McTominay as a lone CDM, which I think is risky. He's also gone, well, Rashford looked better in the second half because Rashford's been crap versus Norwich, it was crap versus Newcastle. But I will say, as crap as Rashford was that game, in the last half an hour, Rashford looked a lot better. I think you can all agree with me. When Rashford started playing as a left winger, he looked a lot better. You know, first half, Rashford should have been off. Bruno looked better in the second half. We looked better in general in the second half when we changed to this formation. And maybe I think going into Brentford, this is the way that we could play. I don't know for sure, but maybe. Yeah. Sent Maximan dancing Dalot on his tunes today. 1v1, Dalot was pathetic. I actually thought Dalot was alright today, got the assist, but I think defensively he was poor. Not dissing on Ralf, but Conte would have radically changed the team. He has instilled some discipline and their footballers got a more creative. Conte commands respect. We missed out on Conte. We did miss out on Conte. However, Conte's had a month longer than Ralf Rangnick as well. So let's see where Ralf Rangnick is in a month and what he's doing. But I think with Conte, we will be playing 5 at the back. And, you know, Conte's more, you know, and we wouldn't have Ralf Rangnick going into the consultancy role. So as much as Conte is a better manager than Ralf Rangnick, and maybe Ralf Rangnick doesn't get top 4, but if we've got Conte, we've got top 4. Ralf Rangnick can do the consultancy role and do a transfer role and bring the right players to Manchester United. And I think that's one of the biggest positives of Ralf Rangnick's joining Manchester United, if you want my honest opinion. I think that is one of the biggest positives. And Ralf should let all the players train for 2 days every week. I mean, a lot of these players, I don't know if Ralph's been watching them training, but a lot of these players need to be dropped. And I will say, let's talk about our next game. Alice, are we in the Europa League? No, we're not in the Europa League, but my title was Europa League. Here we go, because we're bloody going to the Europa League at this rate next season. And Lewis says Ronaldo was right to get angry. He gives the ball, so the players are returned to him, and they are not returned. He can't do anything. Yeah, I will say, and I said this earlier, there's a lack of intelligence at Manchester United. A lot of these players are not on the same wavelengths as the like of Cristiano Ronaldo. There's a lack of player intelligence at Manchester United, and it doesn't take a genius to point it out, because Ronaldo will do this good ball and he won't get it back. And I think a lot of these players lack intelligence. They're not as intelligent as Ronaldo, and I do agree with you on that. I think, you know, you look at City, you look at Liverpool, you look at every other team in the Premier League, and they play a lot better football than Manchester United. They play more technical, more fast-flowing. You know, a lot of these Premier League teams are playing a lot better than Manchester United. You know, Newcastle played better football today. You know, we've got Ralf Rangnick in, we've got this new boss in. It's about getting and pressing, about fast attacking football. But let's be honest, who played the better football today? Newcastle United did. And, you know, Ronaldo's doing these 1-2s, but he's not getting the 2 back. And, you know, Rashford, I love Marcus Rashford. I won't call him trash, but I think Rashford's a good player. But Rashford's player intelligence and decision-making today was atrocious. Rashford had this good pass on, and he would just give it away. Bruno he tried to do these good passes, but they weren't coming off for him. Fred just gave it away. McTominay just gave it away. And there were so many chances where Ronaldo would make this run, or Ronaldo would want this 1-2, and the players aren't on the same wavelength as Ronaldo. And, you know, Ronaldo, I think, likes playing with Cavani because Cavani's got that IQ. But a lot of these players, maybe it's because they've played under Ollie. You know, Greenwood, all his developments come under Ollie and the coaches. Rashford, most of his developments come under Ollie and the coaches. Maybe a lot of these young players, one of the reasons that they lack an IQ is because they have been playing under Ollie and coaches for a while and learning from Ollie. You know, you look at Donny, he's very intelligent, but he learned at Ajax. You look at Sancho, he's very intelligent, he learned at Dortmund. You look at Cavani, you look at Ronaldo. They're all intelligent players, but they didn't actually learn how to play at Manchester United. You look at Greenwood, he hasn't, you know, 2 years ago he was brilliant. Has he improved in the last 2 years? No. Has Rashford improved in the last 2 years? No. Has Martial improved in the last 2 years? No. 2 years ago, Martial, Greenwood and Rashford were outscoring Salah, Firmino and Mane. 2 years later, none of Martial, Rashford or Greenwood have improved. None of them. And you go, maybe this is a result of poor coaching. And maybe these poor decisions that are being made by the same players, you know, because I think a lot of the things we're getting wrong today is decision making, not doing the simple pass, keeping the ball for too long. You know, it's schoolboy stuff. A lot of the mistakes Manchester United are making are schoolboy stuff. So maybe it's the fact that we've had so many years of bad coaching is the reason that certain players are just not good. And maybe, you know the phrase "give them time." But let's be honest, I think it is going to take Ralf Rangnick time to adjust these players, because this is such a big adjustment for a lot of these players. You know, Ralf Rangnick's 4-2-2 doesn't play wingers. Our strength is wingers. Bruno's not playing in his normal role. It's an expansive way. It's a pressing way. They've got to run as much. It's a completely different style of football. That, of course, I think it's going to take a lot more time with Ralf Rangnick. And I hate the phrase "give it time," but I do agree with that. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you haven't already. If David De Gea is your man of the match, please do smash a like on the video. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new to the channel. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football as well, as it means a lot. I will be live for the Burnley watch along. I'll be doing a match preview versus Burnley and a match reaction versus Burnley. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and updates, please do subscribe. And DJ says in the chat, Rashi looking like Theo Walcott. And at the moment, Rashford is looking like Theo Walcott. Rashford's a good player. He absolutely carried United when he was 21 years of age. But right now, he looks burnt out. He's not playing well, and he looks like he's going down the road of Theo Walcott. I believe let's get some proper coaches in to work with Rashford. Let's show Rashford what he's doing wrong. Because I've said this about Marcus Rashford. He's been poor. He should be dropped. He shouldn't start the next game. I agree with that, Marcus Rashford. But he's been coached poorly. Let's see. You know, if you look at what Rashford does wrong, he has an easy pass on. He runs into 3 players. It's his decision-making. It's his player intelligence. It's the passes. Rashford is a good player when he doesn't think, when it just flows for him. And I just think you need the coaches to work with Rashford and just teach him what flows for him. I think that's what we need to see as well. Play 4-4-2, Cavani and Ronnie in the left wing, Greenwood, Elanga on the right, Sancho, Rashford in centre mid, Fred, Donny, centre backs for Varane and Bay. If that works. And Alice, no matter who United get in January, everyone keeps talking about the CDMs. It's the issue. Too many players you can see are not good enough to start games or play in a position. Look, we need a CDM. I hope we get that Alvarez guy, but most importantly, Manchester United need a CDM. And if you agree with me that Manchester United needs a CDM, let me know. Could Rashford be the next world back? And all of that. And top 4 race is tasty right now, Arsenal fan. I think you will make it, though. I think United will probably get top 4 because we just have that quality over Arsenal and Spurs. However, at the way it's going, and generally United don't know that they're going to get top 4, like at the way it's going. Who is your man of the match, guys? Let me know your man of the match down below, because we are going to get into some player ratings. So please do let me know your man of the match down below. My man of the match is David De Gea, and if you agree with me that David De Gea is man of the match, smash a like on the video. Rashford has been overrated for years. Rashford's a good player, but he's been playing crap lately. And Rashford thinks he's made it. He needs to be dropped. There is this thing where I think a lot of Man United players think they're better than they are. And I think there's a stubbornness within Manchester United and the stubbornness within a lot of Manchester United players that, you know, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Maguire, Scott, Fred, Rashford, they always knew they were going to never be subbed or dropped. Maguire, Scott, Fred, Rashford, Luke Shaw, they were never going to be dropped. They were never going to be substituted. You know, this stubbornness has got to go under Ralf Rangnick, because Fred got subbed off at half-time. Fred's put in a load of his performances under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Never been subbed off at half-time. McTominay always plays the full 90 minutes. Subbed off for 75 minutes gone because he wanted that goal. Rashford hasn't been subbed off or dropped yet, but he could be. And I think, you know, these players need to be careful, because Scott, Fred, Rashford, Maguire, I do believe, and it's only 3 games in and they haven't been dropped yet, but if this continues, they'll be dropped, because you notice the same players that were underperforming under Ole are underperforming under Ralf Rangnick. Is that because the players are not good enough? Is that because the players could be the issue? And the difference between Ralf Rangnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is Ralf Rangnick isn't afraid to try something new. Ralf Rangnick isn't afraid to play McTominay as a lone CDM on his own. Ralf Rangnick will not be afraid to stop McFred. Ralf Rangnick will not be afraid to drop Bruno. Ralf Rangnick, if it's not playing well, I think he will drop Rashford. He will drop Bruno. It's only been 3 games, but I'm so keen. If they'd lost 5-0 to Liverpool, 2-0 to Man City, 4-2 to Watford with Ralf Rangnick managing them, I think he will play Donny. And I think when we go into our next game, because Bruno can't play, Donny will be in for Bruno, and I think maybe Matic will be in for Scott. I really, really do. I think Ralf Rangnick won't be afraid to drop players, and I'm not Rangnick out. It's not much better. It does look like how we do under Ole, but yeah. Rangnick, wake up before you get sacked, and you won't even last the 6 months. Just play Bruno in central midfield. How hard is it for Bruno? Yeah, Bruno needs to be played centre, and Sancho needs more time so he can do wonders. Sancho, I thought, was brilliant today. What Sancho does so much more than Rashford. Let's be honest, he does. Sancho's a good player. If he had a good game. Right, guys, I'm going to get into the player ratings before I wrap up the match. So let me know your player ratings down below as well. Let me know your man of the match. But first of all, guys, if David De Gea was your man of the match, smash a like on the video because David De Gea was my man of the match. But yes, as I said, let's get into the player ratings versus Newcastle. And guys, what are you giving De Gea out of 10? I think you have to give De Gea a 9. 8, 9 out of 10. He's the reason we won the game. Didn't lose the game. We didn't win it, unfortunately. De Gea's a 9 out of 10 for me. Zidane said that Sancho was poor. I thought Sancho was good. He didn't have much to do. Ralf Rangnick needs help already, says Stephen Waller. Yeah, maybe he needs a little bit of help, but I think Ralf Rangnick just needs time. And Blake says, I think Rangnick is just letting these poor players start to see what he's dealing with and then start putting his ideas through his squad. I think that's exactly what he's doing. I agree with Blake's comment there. I think that Ralf Rangnick is just playing the players that OLE told him to play, that Phelan told him to play, that McKenna told him to play, getting to learn those players, and actually, if they're not playing well, start changing up. Fred was crap for 45 minutes. All right, let's play McTominay on his own. All right, McTominay's not really doing this role well. Let's put a proper CDM Matic in. I think that's doing. But I'm going to give De Gea an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give Dalot a 6 because going forward, Dalot was good. Defensively, I didn't think he was good. So I will give Dalot a 6. I will give Varane a 5 because he isn't, but I'm giving him a 5.5. I'll give Varane a 5.5 out of 10 because I think Varane isn't matched up. Maguire gets a 4. Maguire gets a 4 from me. Let me know your player ratings down below. I've given De Gea a 10. Sorry, I've given De Gea a 9 out of 10. I've given Dalot a 6 out of 10. I've given Varane a 5 out of 10. And I've given Maguire a 4 out of 10. I mean, for me, Telles was all right. I'll give Telles a 6. I thought Telles was quite good today. McTominay, I'll give him a 5. I think McTominay wasn't as bad as people will make out. I think he was a 5. I don't think he was brilliant, but he was a lot better than Fred. Fred, for me, gets a 3. I thought, Fred's actually been really good under Ralf Rangnick. Fred's had about 5 good games in a row. And I thought, brilliant, we're finally seeing the Fred that plays for Brazil. We're finally seeing the good Fred. Fred had 5 good games in a row. And all of a sudden, Fred lost his Brazilian passport again. And Fred was awful. Rashford, 3. Redeemed himself in the second half a little bit, but poor. Bruno, I'll give him a 5 because he looked better in the second half. Greenwood, not his fault, I'll give him a 6. Ronaldo, not his fault, I'll give him a 6. Sancho, I'll give him a 6. I thought Sancho looked good. Cavani, I'll give Cavani an 8. Cavani scored the goal. He could have scored another goal, could have won. I'll give him an 8. Matic, I'll give him a 6. And Ralf Rangnick, I've got to give him a 5. They're my player ratings. But I think De Gea's man of the match. And smash a like if you agree with me on De Gea man of the match. But yeah, it was not good today, guys. And we've got 3 days to our next game. So we just got to hope that we go and get the dub for our next game. But I think if you agree that De Gea was man of the match. Yes, if he wasn't that bad, why the hell does McTominay get a 5? Fred was a 5. Maguire was much worse. Rashford's also a 3 though. McTominay's a 6/5. Fred was a 3. Let's be honest. Rashford was also probably a 3. Cavani was 3 clear chances, but gets an 8. Just because I like Cavani, he's probably a 7. I wasn't really taking my player ratings too seriously. I thought Telles and Sancho were alright. I really thought Telles and Sancho were alright, to be fair. Maybe because I didn't watch half the game in my head because it was so boring that I kept looking at my laptop and looking at Twitter throughout the game. But I thought Telles were a big chance. Why are you not giving Van de Beek a chance? I'd give Van de Beek a chance if I was Man United manager. I mean, but I think Van de Beek will get his chance under Rangnick. I think if I was going to predict our lineup for the next game, right now, I think Rangnick will make changes because he wasn't impressed with that. And I think what Rangnick will do is he'll stick with this formation. I think Rangnick will stick with this 4-1-3-2. And I think we'll see Matic. And I think we'll see Donny. And I think maybe you'd even see someone like Elanga because Rashford ain't good at the moment. I think we could see something like that next game. I really do think we could see something like that next game. Maybe even Luke Shaw. Maybe something like that. I really do think we could see something like that next game. I really, really do, to be fair. If I was going to guess. De Gea was like, it's not even a debate. Like, let's be honest. De Gea was like freaking man of the match by how much? Like miles. Just absolutely mad. De Gea was, yeah. That wasn't a good result. I think I was really annoyed watching the game. But now I've kind of cooled off a little bit from that result and stuff. And the more I think about it, I'm like, you know what? It wasn't a good result. We weren't brilliant. But there's still plenty of games to go. And I think if we beat Burnley, if we beat Wolves, we're not too much set back. You know, I think we do have a better team than Spurs. We do have a better team than Arsenal. I think once the managers have more time, we'll be in a better position. So now, the more I think about it, I'm a little bit more relaxed about the situation it is. But yeah, we need incomings in January, says David. 100% agree. But I want to show you one more thing before I wrap up the video, and that is our fixture list. Freaking, why is it so zoomed in? Oh yeah, because my freaking timer. But let me show you our fixture list. So, okay, we've dropped points to Newcastle, disappointing, but look, we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're 7 games unbeaten. That's a positive. Build momentum. Burnley, we should win. Wolves, we should win. Villa will be difficult, but I think we'll win. West Ham have dropped off, I think we'll win. Burnley, we should win again. Southampton, we should win again. Leeds, we should definitely win. By the time we get to February, sorry, wrong one. By the time, frick's sake, by the time we get to February and we play Atletico Madrid, I think we will be in a better position. And I think we should really focus on the Champions League, because, you know, what Man United's problem is building momentum, building consistency. Consistency goes out the window in the Champions League. It's not about consistency. And on our day, we can beat anyone. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's beaten that Manchester City squad with this United squad. You know, we've beaten Liverpool on our day, we've beaten City on our day. On our day, we can beat anyone. And I think if we're going tits up in the Premier League, we need to focus on that Champions League. But I think, you know, we look at the fixtures coming up, we've got some easy ones. And hopefully by the time we get to these harder ones, we're a much better team. And these could be 6-pointers against Spurs and Arsenal as well. But hopefully we look a lot better as well. Van der Beek needs to start. Smash a like on the video if you want to see Van der Beek start the next game. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. But guys, I am going to wrap up today's live stream. I want to say a big thank you for everybody for tuning in today's live stream match reaction. I'll be back tomorrow night with some news. And then I'll be the night after for the Manchester United versus Burnley preview. And yeah, also, you know, if you watched my video yesterday, the Leeds lineup I got 24 hours before the match was the exact lineup that was today. So we got that absolutely correct as well. So if you want to get an insight on what the lineup could be the day before, if you want to do previews, if you want to do match reactions, watch alongs, daily transfer updates, because we are going to January transfer window, do subscribe if you're not subscribed, because there will be daily transfer videos on all the latest transfer news throughout the January transfer window, because it looks like Manchester United will be getting some incomings. It looks like we'll be selling players. I think because we're selling players, there will be players joining Manchester United. And if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, make sure you're subscribed, as well as I will be doing a watch along and match reaction and match preview to United versus Burnley and all the Manchester United matches. So thank you everyone for watching today's video. Please do smash a like. Please do smash the subscribe. See you back tomorrow night. Thank you for watching. Bye.